Hey everybody, how you doing today? Just hanging out here in the reptile room, taking care of animals, doing the normal stuff, and I got to thinking about it, and we've done a lot of videos. We've covered a lot of topics, and maybe the question is finally there. Maybe it's rolling around in your mind. And that question is a tortoise the right pet for you? Well, today we're going to answer that question and kind of go over some of the things that are involved with owning a reptile. We're going to go ahead and cover those topics and more hanging out here. Let's see who's available here. Look at this. This is crazy. Look at these guys. Hank and Stella have been hanging out together. It's amazing. I can't believe it. Hank is supposed to be up here, but has found his way down here on numerous occasions, and he's just a naughty boy. Sorry, Benny. I think somebody might have stole your gal. Alright, congratulations. You've decided that you want to buy a tortoise. Well, there are three main prerequisites I would consider before buying a tortoise. And those prerequisites are space, time, and money. Those are the big three. You have to have the amount of space required for your tortoise. And I hate the idea of minimum space required. I hate that saying. I mean, you think about it, technically, a human can live in a closet, right? It's enough space for us to be in there, but our quality of life is going to be poor, and therefore our health is going to decline. Same thing with reptiles. They really just need enrichment, they need a large space. The other thing to consider is time. Do you have enough time to feed your animal on a daily basis, take care of their water on a daily basis, and it's not the same as a dog or a cat, okay? They require more affectionate time. Otherwise they get stressed out, they'll get separation anxiety. Benny is stepping on my foot here. At any rate though, reptiles don't need that sort of affection. It is good to interact with your animals so they can have that sort of connection with you, but it's not necessary for you to own a tortoise. The last thing to consider is money. And I'm not talking about just the price of the tortoise initially. You're also talking about building your enclosure, because that can be expensive. Lighting, because not only the bulbs and the fixtures and the timers, you're also talking about your electric bill. It's going to go up. That's something you can count on. Regardless of where you live, unless you have some wicked, awesome solar system set up with solar panels all over your yard, it's gonna go up. It's inevitable. It's just part of it's a bittersweet thing with reptile owning in general. And that's whether you own a tortoise or a lizard or whatever. So those are the big three to kind of consider. Also, one more thing before I forget. You will need to find a vet, and vets are not cheap. Especially a specialized reptile vet. So that is something to consider as well. You will need to have some sort of savings or funds set aside for when your reptile needs to see the vet, and that will happen. If you own a tortoise from hatchling to adult, at some point in the life of that tortoise, it's going to have to see a vet. It's inevitable. It's just part of owning these guys. At some point, they will need to see a vet for whether it's an eye infection or respiratory or whatever have you. They will need to see a vet. I don't think that they would really need to be on a preventative maintenance side of things, like going for checkups, unless you suspect something, or you want to know. You want to make sure that, like, metabolic bone disease isn't an issue. They can check bone density through x-rays. But I digress. This is a whole rant. Basically, stick to the 3 things to decide whether you want a tortoise. Space, time, and money. Well, alright, we're hanging out here in the studio, aka my eat-in kitchen area. And we have a little hatchling. This is a little hatchling redfoot tortoise. Believe it or not, this little guy here will get as big as Benny. That's right, that little guy will get as big as Benny. Alright, dude, I'll let you get back to eating here while we talk. So, let's say that you have decided that you have the time, you have the space, and you have the money to own a tortoise. Then the question becomes, what tortoise is right for you? Well, there are some things to consider based on the amount of space, time, and money that you have. Some tortoises do require more space because they are a larger species tortoise. But there are other suitable tortoises that don't get quite as big as Benny. They are like a Russian tortoise, a Greek tortoise, Herman's tortoise, and there are a few other higher end ones like my Egyptian tortoise that they stay small and manageable for even like a 24/7 indoor environment or an apartment complex. Granted, if your apartment complex will let you have exotic animals in your place. So that is something to also consider, to make sure you have permission if you don't own your home to have these animals there. On top of that, where do you buy your tortoise? Where do you find your tortoise, the one you want to purchase? So there are a few places to do this. You can get them online. You can get them at reptile expos. You can get them at pet stores. I highly recommend supporting local business. Obviously, the big chain places I don't really recommend either. More of your mom and pop places that you have are really good. They won't steer you wrong because they want repeat business there. If you go to a reptile expo, you have to be a little bit more precautious because that animal may be wild caught. And the reason why a wild caught animal is not favorable over a captive bred is because it may have diseases, it may be extremely dehydrated and stressed out from the trip here to America, from where it's from. And you really take a risk of that animal just crashing on you at some point and not being able to survive. The online option, you have to be careful of that as well. There are many black market websites that you may be dealing with the same thing where it's a wild caught animal, but there are a lot of reputable breeder sites that I would recommend. A good place to check would be like a Morph Market. They have a catalog of other like breeders, and they post all of their stuff. They're rated through the Morph Marketplace as reputable breeder. They are people that would be suitable for a captive bred animal. And they actually tell you right on there if it's a wild-caught animal or not. And that, again, is the biggest factor on where to buy your... So while we're watching the Egyptian tortoise here, Jafar, he's going to come out and have a little snack. The last little things I'd like to consider are, do you have a vet nearby? Because like I mentioned earlier, you will need a vet at some point to take care of your animal from hatchling to adult. It's inevitable. It's going to happen. The other thing you might want to consider is, will you have a babysitter? Will there be somebody that can take over and watch your animals if you have to go to the hospital, or if you do decide you want to go on vacation and you need somebody here that's going to be able to take care of your guys? The other thing to consider is these guys will live longer than you. And you will need to find somebody to inherit your animals. That's right, you will have to actually add them in your will. Isn't that crazy? These little guys will actually outlive you. So that is the three major things there to consider, in addition to the other things that I was talking about previously. I think we beat this one up quite a bit, so we're going to finish up the video here with Jafar kind of deciding he doesn't want to eat his food. You come to the conclusion after watching this video that, well, maybe a pet tortoise isn't right for you after all. Well, that's okay. You can still be part of the reptile community even though you don't own a tortoise yourself. For example, you can go to the reptile expos, and a lot of the vendors there will actually let you hold and pet the reptiles that they have there. Another place you can go is your local pet shop. They'll do the same as well. And provide you information. Maybe it's something you can do in the future that you're just not ready for right now. Either way, you can still be a part of the reptile community. You can like and subscribe to my videos. That's another way too. And just, enjoy from afar and be kind of like the uncle, right? You don't have kids, but you can be the uncle to other kids. You can spoil them and send them on their way, right? Am I right? Am I right? Anyway, thanks for watching today. I had a blast making the video. Some other videos coming up down the road. I'm going to be doing some interviews. I'll be doing some outside shots because it is nice outside.
Miles will be back. Yeah, your food's there.
Look at that, he loves us too. Look at that. He's not afraid of us anymore. Hello, nice turtle.